Okay. All right. One, you can go over to the Women in Publishing Summit Facebook page, not the group, the public page, and you'll find it in the recordings. And two, we will put this on our Write, Publish, Sell YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed at youtube.com/Write, Publish, Sell, please do that. We load all of our webinars there immediately after that. Well, hello, Cher. Okay, today is a big topic because it's an important topic, because I can tell you, after a decade plus of being in this industry, when it comes down to who's selling books versus who isn't selling books, it comes down to two key factors: email list size and how visible you are out in the world. And visibility comes in a lot of different ways, shapes, and forms, but the media can still play a massive role in how visible you are. And Paige Dungan from the Front Porch Collective is one of our session sponsors this year for the Women in Publishing Summit. So thank you so much for supporting our community and bringing us your knowledge and helping us put on these free events throughout the year. And she's also,
Absolutely.
yes, she is a PR professional. She works in the world of public relations. She works in the world of helping authors be more visible and get out in front of all of these places. So I hope you're ready to learn about pitching the media today and what you need in a media kit so that you can pitch effectively, and all the things that Paige is going to share with us. So I am going to go ahead and pass the floor to you, Paige. Thank you again so much. I'm super looking forward to this session.
Yay, Alexa, thank you so much for having me. And guys, I am so excited to be here. Alexa and I connected last year on all things publishing, and her and I just quickly struck up a friendship and this passion for helping all of you really get your work out there in the world. So I hope today, my goal is today to be able to have you walk away with knowledge on how to pitch, what to pitch, and all the things you need to really get your book in front of the media. And like Alexa said, really have that visibility. So I'm going to get my presentation up here.
While you're pulling that up, I forgot to say one thing, everybody. Don't forget, this is a webinar style, so we do have the Q&A box. So please make sure you're putting your questions in the Q&A. We'll have a Q&A session towards the end, and we don't want to miss those. So make sure you use that Q&A box. Okay, Paige, take it away. Your slides.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see them, Alexa. We're good.
You're good to go.
Okay, guys. So I kind of first walk through the workshop structure today and the webinar structure. So we're going to hit a couple very high level points and dive into the tactics of each one. So the first one we're going to jump into is media practices that change the game. We're going to look at the kind of the new gold standard of how to pitch and editors and really how to use that to your benefit. Then we're going to go into like, how do we actually talk to them to get noticed and to become more visible? So I'm going to teach you my hack in creating a 15-word award-winning pitch, and it's much easier than you think. Then we're going to go, and I know Alexa talks a lot about this, the power of pitch and podcasting. Some of you might probably already know this, but podcasting is one of the best ways to move book sales. So we're going to spend some time deep diving into podcasting. Then we're going to talk about why you need a media kit as an author and how to build it. And then my favorite tools to share with you to really jumpstart being connected to the media and having your story out there in the world. So a little bit about me. I am Paige Dungan, as Alexa shared. My entire background has been in a passion for uplifting voices and stories. And I have spent the tenure of my career at Success Magazine, where I was head of their public relations, talent, and publishing division. And that is really where I got a passion for seeing the voices of today really needing a platform to not only write their book and get the book out there in the world, but to shine the spotlight on it. I was seeing there was a big missed opportunity, not just marketing the book, but getting publicity to drive those leads and opportunities in for authors. So I left my media magazine experience about 3 years ago and founded the Front Porch Collective, which we are a public relation agency solely working with only authors and really helping elevate your voice. So just a little background about who you're learning from today, as I think that's important. But where I really want to spend the time, guys, is let's talk all things media. So let's first look at how do we used to work with the media and getting stories and placements. Number one, we used to have an amazing tool called Desk Sides, where you could make basically appointments with editors and journalists and freelancers and meet with them in New York, LA, some of the big hubs that the media brands live. We also had a much longer lead time. It used to be, okay, well, we can plan it out for 6 months, right? There were more journalists and it was a bigger team. So we had much longer deadlines than they are now. And press releases used to be such a driving tool in generating coverage and visibility. But a lot of that has changed, right? Like in any industry, things change with the times, and especially with COVID, the public relations and media industry went through a huge overhaul. So, what happened first came media layoffs, right? So, that was the first thing to get cut. And so, our staff now is like 40% less. You get the journal editors out there today, it's about 40% less than where it was pre 2020. Also, you're getting more pitches than ever. So I took an average with my journalist friends, and on average, they receive over 150 plus email pitches a day. So they're being inundated with an overshare of information. And that's why today I really want to talk through with you on how you can break through that noise and get your book and your story noticed. They're also looking more than anything, we are smart readers nowadays and what we consume. So there's got to be an emotional hook to it, right? An aspirational story. Even if you're a fiction writer, I'm going to show you how to bring that out in it, but there's got to be a heartbeat to what you're pitching. And we've got a competitive news cycle. So the news cycle is a breaking story or trend and the arc of the discovery of it, and then it comes down the other side. You guys are so smart. You can turn on the news and see how many different stories are being hit at us left and right. So I'm going to talk through like actually how we can use these news cycles to our advantages in getting press placement. Then in our industry, like any industry, right? PR is looking for a way to make money. And then unfortunately, that means it's the rise of pay to play. And so pay to play is when you pay for opportunities for you to be included in articles and TV segments. We're going to talk through a little bit more about that and the pros and cons compared to traditionally earned media, which is free opportunities and what publicists like myself do. And then, guys, we all know it in our industry, social media, Bookstagram, Book Talk, they have skyrocketed our publishing world over the past 3 years. They've also done the same with media and where we consume our stories. So whether we love it or not, it's really important to have a pulse from a public relations standpoint on social media. And we're going to dive into that too. So when we think about a couple ways to win today, and by win, I mean crafting relationships with media that will place your story, there's a few things I really want to drive home for you. More than anything, guys, it's really important to establish relationships with media, with journalists, with editors, with writers, with producers. They are looking for organic relationships to be made. This means reaching out to them, connecting with them on platforms such as social, or if they have a blog, and really forming a natural connection with them. They also really want you to be able to provide newsworthy content because in your business, how many emails do you get that you're like, this does not pertain to what I do? Do they even know who I am and why are they sending me this email? Journalists feel the same way. You've got to make sure you're providing newsworthy content that matters to them because all of them cover a different beat from arts and entertainment to sports and politics. You're not going to probably be pitching your book to a sports producer unless it's specifically designed for that audience, right? It's also important that we tailor our approach. So gone are the days that we used to be able to BCC every media contact members under the sun and send one email. No, they want it to be personalized. And again, that goes back to the relationship building. So it needs to be a very high level example that you know what's going on in the world. So if you follow somebody such as the talent booker for Drew Barrymore's show, and you saw on Instagram that she went to Disney World, right? It's just reaching out and being like, hey, I follow you on social. I saw that you were at Disney. I hope you had a great time. Like personalized human elements in your pitch before going straight in for the ask. You also have to be really responsive and accessible, because when a journalist comes knocking on your door and they're ready to do a placement for you, if you miss their phone call, they've moved on to the next opportunity. So just stay on top of email or however you communicated with them, and respect their guidelines for follow up. Most media members don't mind if you follow up a max of 3 times over the span of a couple of weeks. I'm going to go into a trick that you can remember, kind of the follow up rule guide here in a little bit, and give gratitude. Thank them for their time, even if they didn't put you in their story, even if they didn't pick up your quote for their article. Always, always, always follow up with gratitude. So as we kind of know the best practices of how to pitch and how to connect with media, let's spend some time actually drilling down how to craft your perfect pitch. So I'm going to talk about a couple of options here. Number one is this 15-word pitch. So when you think about your book, all of us can think about what is that boilerplate about your book that is going to hook people and absolutely drive the reader in. That sentence is the same sentence we're going to use in our 15-word pitch. The reason why I say 15 words, guys, is media, they do not want multiple paragraphs from us. They want it concise, and they want to know the hook right off the bat. So if your book is about relationships, it can be something like how this book is going to change how we view relationships. You have a stat that can go with your book, that stat can be included too. But the very opening of an email to a journalist, have that 15-word hook right at the top. Now, when you have that hook right at the top, I'm going to go through how to add more information, right? You're probably thinking, but Paige, I have so much to share about. There's so much more than 15 words that I want to talk to them about. That's great. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. So the 15-word pitch is just to gain initial interest, right? This is for us to be able to wake up the media and be like, pay attention to my email. Then we want to go into a paragraph or two about your book. So this is from one of our authors, Leon Logothetis. And we had already sent a 15-sentence hook. We're following up. So we enter that very emotional part of his story right at the beginning, which is talking about his childhood and going to rehab and really where self-discovery came. Again, they're looking for that emotional tie-in. Then we go into kind of his proof points, like what he has done. So he has been a show of Discovery Plus and a Netflix. He's traveled to 100 countries with no money, relying on the kindness of strangers. That's another place for us to hook and grab their attention, being like, wow, okay, well, that's interesting. Then we always end a pitch with prior press placements. Never lead with it. Yes, you may have been on every national TV show under the sun, but you're going to close with that, and you want to put that in the very bottom of the pitch. So if you're looking for a template on how to get started, again, this is being recorded. Feel free to use this exact template as a place for you as well. I would never go more than this much content in your email. If you have more than 3 long paragraphs, it's too long. And just like a good book, we got to edit down. Okay. So the only time we do go longer, though, than 3 paragraphs is a case study I want to share with you. I was working with my dear friend Amy Porterfield, and she was trying to get her book on the Today Show. One of our mutual friends was going on the Today Show, and we wanted to leave with producers, because it's really rare that you get to actually hand something to the media. So if you do, you want to go all out for it. So we crafted an entire TV segment on how to create your own pivot. And this is something, again, just if you're going to be in the presence of a journalist, a freelancer, or something like that, would you craft something like this? But we go into who Amy is, but more importantly, we go into what a TV segment looks like. What we're trying to do always when we're pitching to the media is taking the job off of them and handing them everything they need to pick up the story. So in this instance, we're trying to get her on TV. So we go into what the interview is about, other topics we can talk about. We give a picture of somebody that has actually gone through her program and can be a source to this story. And we make it fun with stats, right? With stats and information, again, to have a source science backing opportunity. This is the only time when I say go beyond 15 words. So I put this in here for you just to know if you have the same opportunity, all right, it is a template to follow. So we've sent our pitch, right? We've maybe sent a follow-up. How do we know though, how many times can we communicate with the media before we get blocked? You know, many times if we spam too often, media will block our email addresses. So I call it the rule of threes. And I want to kind of break each of these down. So rule number one is the initial outreach. This is that 15-word pitch in the beginning, and you can add another paragraph if you want to. When you send that email, this is the hardest part, guys. I want you to sit for 72 hours. We do not follow up. We do not do anything. We can do a hope, a wish, and a prayer. We wait because, again, I shared how many pitches journalists get. We need to wait for them to sift through and get to ours. But if after 72 hours, we have not heard from them and we think they've maybe ghosted us, they probably haven't, you need to send a follow-up. It takes a lot of work nowadays to place your story. So you've got to be in it for the long haul. So after 72 hours, keep it the short, concise email, what I shared on the other screen, give a little bit more information and follow up. If you still haven't received that response, I would give it another week, at least another week. In the span of 2 to 3 weeks, you're following up 3 times. You're not following up on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And so in this final inquiry, kindly ask if there's a decision timeline. That puts the ball back in their court. Ask if they've made a decision. When they respond, and it might be, guys, a no or a pass, again, that's where gratitude comes in, maybe that during your pitch. So if you can't remember anything about the rules of 3, just remember in the span of 2 to 3 weeks, I can follow up 3 times and space that out, okay? So as we're talking about pitching, what we just talked about was going through how we traditionally pitch for magazines, TV, digital magazines, you name it. Now let's talk about its own beast in media, and that is podcasting and how we're going to get on some of our favorite podcasts to push ourselves and book sales. So the key difference is with podcast pitching, we're really proving who you are. We're highlighting the valuable content. We are positioning you as a subject matter expert, whether that be in fiction, nonfiction, children's books, whatever it might be your genre, you are the best at it. And here's why. We're taking a very strong stance with that. There's still emotion to it, but we are coming right out of the gate with your expertise. So let's talk about a little bit different what to include in a podcast pitch. Always, guys, just like the other media, begin with praise. Podcast hosts and producers want to know that you've actually listened to their episodes. So I cannot stress this enough. Listen for a little bit to their podcast, and I bet Alexa's shaking her head right now, yes. Listen to a podcast episode. Open the beginning of that pitch with, hey, I listened to your episode on empathy, and I was really struck with the 3 key ways I can grow my empathy muscle. Something that lets them know you're listening, you know what their content is about, you know what their podcast is about. You also want to include a 1-sentence power bio at the beginning. And that is because while we are trying to showcase you as a subject matter expert, we are not trying to say, here's my whole life story from the age of 3. I love the Flintstones all the way through today, right? We're just trying to give a quick snapshot of where you are right now. You also want to know that your audience matches their audience. So they're going to want to see the similarities. So share a little bit about your audience and how that crosses over to theirs, right? Share a little bit of insight on how what you're talking about is very similar to a topic they're already talking about and include specific talking points. So with this, I always say you want to include 2 to 4 talking points. And that is because the podcast host literally wants to see, what am I going to talk about, right? Like, what can they talk about? What is an episode title? I'm going to pull it right here. The 5 things the publishing industry is getting wrong, or learn how to write a book in 60 days. Whatever the talking point might be, these are probably themes you already talk about in your life and in your work and in your book. And I'm going to show you how to bullet point those out. And then the humble brag, just like what we did for the media placements, we are going to do a humble brag where we include at the very bottom, here are other podcasts that I've been on, again, to show that brand proof and credibility of where you have been. Then, this is the hardest part, guys. It is so hard for us authors not to throw the book into the pitch itself. When you're podcast pitching, I want you just to include more information about your book in the signature part of your email. Yes, the signature part, because a podcast, of course, will be interested in your book, but they first want to know you and what topics you can expertly speak to. So, me loving examples, I know I'm a visual learner, so I love seeing actual templates. So, I wanted to share these all with you too. This is an email pitch that we did for a client of ours. And you will see the same things that I just talked about on how to win in with podcasting and what you need to include are in this pitch. So we opened up saying, I listened to a podcast episode on X, right? I loved this episode and purpose thought throughout. And we talk about how it inspired and what we gained from it. Then we go into that 1 sentence bio about our author. So you'll see Tessa White is a former 50 executive, that sentence, right? It's a 1 sentence quick power bio that says where her work has been published. Again, this isn't our full humble brag, just a quick note in her bio of where her work has been published today. Then we move into her audience, right? I shared that you want to include your audience, your target audience. And if you have a large following, you want to include this here too. So she has more than 1 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. So of course we call that out because a podcast host will see that and be like, wow, okay, I'm going to have a large reach when she shares this episode for a lot of crossover opportunity. Now, here's where we go into the talking points. Do you see right here the talking points? You will see 4 bullets. These are all pulled from her book, different themes that she can speak to. So again, a podcast host can simply look at this and be like, wow, why conflict can be a good thing and how to fuel it for growth. Wonderful. That's going to resonate with my career and leadership audience, right? So again, these are your expert topics from your book that you pull from. And then we're ending with a humble brag, right? The other places, and we link them here. She's been on NPR and News Nation Now, to name a few. We link, so if they want to go look at those episodes, they're in there. And then at the very bottom, you see all about the book. They will absolutely, guys, see that your book is down there, and they will know that automatically it will probably be a part of the conversation, but it's going to be our secondary point, okay? So this is a great template. If you don't have a podcast template or you've been using one that you don't feel like has been working, this is a great one to get started. So now we know, okay, how do I connect with the media? How do I talk to the media? What are they going to be looking for, right? Because media guys, they're smart. They're going to do their homework on you. They're going to do digging to see where you have been, what you're talking about, what you're doing on social. How you can make it very easy to be discovered is by creating what we call a media kit. So let's hop into what it is. A media kit is designed for journalists, editors, influencers, producers, you name it. That is all of your information in one place. It is anything that they could need from you on a landing page. Think of it as a business card, right? How you have a business card and it shares all the ways to connect with you and to contact you. This is very similar. We're going to have a page that gives you credibility and builds you up as the thought leader and subject matter expert with your book, all in one easy to find location. So let's talk into, well, what do they need in a media kit? couple of things. And again, we want to share a bunch of information, but we're not trying to throw everything at them so they get overwhelmed. So, bios. I know Alexa talks a lot about your author bios and your professional bio. I can't stress enough, you need two versions. You need the short bio, which is 4 to 5 sentences, then have a longer bio that's 2 to 3 paragraphs. Depending on the media outlet, they're going to want to swipe different versions of your bio. Then I say keynote descriptions. These can also be book descriptions. I know many authors are speakers and many people speak in their industry. So you can interchange keynote out for book descriptions or subject matter expert descriptions, whatever it is. Take this third bullet point and use it to suit your industry. Then you want a quick introduction, like quick intro from you. Hi, I am Elena, and here's a little bit about me and my work that I'm up to today. You want to share headshots and any press that you've had. So let's actually see this in practice, because with the media kit, a visual is much more helpful than anything else. So here's an example of a former client's media page. She does a fantastic job keeping it very simplified because that's her branding. You will see all elements of what we spoke about on her page. First, she does a quick headshot and easy to find social, right? So journalists can visit here and be like, great, okay, she has a YouTube page, an Instagram page. I can find all of her content in one place. Then you will see two versions of her bio, this very short bio up at the top, and then this very long bio at the bottom. Now, what I want to say is make it easy for all people to download a PDF of whatever you're sharing on your media page, especially journalists and those in the newsroom. They will actually still print it out and take it to team meetings to show other people, right? So make everything accessible by downloading a PDF. Then she goes into her keynote description. She is a best-selling author, but she speaks a lot on her books and topics. So she goes into her keynote descriptions. Again, you can download the PDF, right at the bottom. And then she goes into where she is today. Today's speaker is a best-selling author, right? Like she writes it in third person. I also highly recommend it to write it in first person. And then all of her headshots are included. Guys, media will choose one person over another if they can quickly access your assets. So we can't stress enough how important it is to have a media page on your website. If you're like, Paige, I don't have a website, what do I do? Make it in Canva, make it a shareable PDF, right? But the reason I say have it on your website is when media is searching, right, for different topics and they crawl for SEO, you want it to pick up your media page, right? So if you can, include this on your website. Now, one thing I want to call out is on your page, on your website, on your media page, wherever you can put it, you want to include the symbols of where you've been picked up. The reason for this is it gives a very clear snapshot of where you have been. You'll see this on Marie Forleo's page. She quickly calls out today, Oprah Bazaar. Yours may be all podcasts. Yours might be all articles that you've written that are a part of a roundup. But wherever you can include media logos on your page, the better. So don't forget to use logos in your design too. And so now you're like, well, where do I put it, Paige? I've got a media kit. I know what to put in it, but where does it go on my website? I always say put it in your About Us section or About Me. Also, put a footer at the bottom of your website that says Media Kit. Simple as that, right? That's where a lot of journalists and producers will look, is scroll all the way down and look for Media Kit. So just put it as a hyperlink in the bottom of your page. So now that we're like, okay, Paige, we know all of this amazing stuff, but how do we find a media? How do we know, like, to keep track of it all? How are we going to actually make this work? So I cannot wait to share my tools of the trade with you. Okay, so these are a few of my favorite things. Now, I'm going to come back to AI in a minute because I know that's a little bit of a hot topic, but I'm going to tell you how we can use it for media. There are so many great places that you can find journalists and media members' contact information. One of my favorite places is a CRM called Muckrack. Now, Muckrack allows you to find any journalist, podcast host, you name it, in any industry, and find what articles they've recently written about, lets you find all their social media, lets you grab email, everything you need under one box. And what I want to share is it can be expensive, right? So if you can, you want to find somebody that potentially you can buy a seat off of. Some agencies will buy a full 10-seat license, but then potentially sell a seat. So if you have questions on this, let me know, but they do have affordable options as well. Whether it's Muckrack or maybe you've heard of Prowly, any of those softwares are phenomenal. If you're going to invest in your PR for your book and you want to do it yourself, I can't highly recommend it more than I am, but find a PR CRM. Second thing that I love that is so cost effective, guys, if you are not on Quoted, I challenge you today to get on Quoted. And the reason is Quoted has done a phenomenal job. They literally are the middleman engaging the talent and the press together on a platform working cohesively. It is one of the best platforms to build relationships on. Like, journalists are yearning for relationships on that platform. You also, guys, can be a part of many stories starting tomorrow. It's kind of like Help a Reporter Out, if you have heard of that, but on steroids in a way, because they actually vet all of the journalists who come on to Quoted. You can search by topic, you can search by outlet, you can search however you want. And every day they have opportunities to be quoted in national publications from MSN.com, the Washington Post, you name it. Quoted is a wonderful platform where you can start to get your feet wet if you haven't had any PR placements or you're looking to start to dabble in PR. Join Quoted. I cannot stress that enough. The last one I want to leave with is Jasper AI, or an AI platform. Now, by no means am I saying AI should write your pitches for you. A journalist can absolutely sniff that out just as they would in publishing. But what I want to say, it's really helpful if you're looking for a guide on how to draft a press release, or if you're looking how to create a blog post. It's a great place to get templates. And I want to stress that, templates, not to do the work for you. But if you're looking like, I don't know how to write the best press release, go to Jasper for inspiration. I don't know how to write the social media caption. That's where AI can help, right? And it doesn't have to be Jasper. By no means, there's absolutely no kickback to me on these. These are just what we use and I personally love. But you can use any form of AI to be able to do that. I just think it's really important to know your tools when you are going out there and looking to connect with the media. The last thing I want to leave on before we go to questions, because I think when we talk about pitching in media, it's so important that we have time to get to all of our amazing questions down there, is this, guys. When you're pitching to the media, remember this, and it's going to sound harsh, but it's true. The media doesn't care about your book yet. They care about you. They care about your story. They care about your message. The book should be the supplementary tool that you're giving to them. Always go into every pitch with, what problem am I trying to solve? And your book is the tool on how to solve it. So I can't stress enough how important that is. If you guys have any questions, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about our publishing industry and authors understanding how to pitch the media and getting success with it and growing book sales. Send me an email, send me a DM. However, I have a free weekly newsletter that talks all about how to pitch the media, but I'm here to help. And I really want you to know anybody can end up on any piece of media. You just got to have the tools and the language to do it too. So, Alexa, I want to make sure, because we have quite a few questions, I wanted to make sure we had time for that. So just let me know if it's best for me to just jump into questions, or if you have a certain place you want to begin.
It's totally up to you. If you want me to go through the questions with you, I can do that, or you can jump right into them.
Great. I'll just jump in, Alexa.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so Selena, the thing, I love this. The thing I hear over and over is that you should not pay for exposure. Is there a time when this is beneficial? Yes. So Selena, when it comes to pay to play opportunities, which is what I just spoke about, which are opportunities that you pay in exchange for placement, I highly advise against it because a lot of the paid to play opportunities come down. You'll pay, let's say, for example, you'll pay for an article placement in the LA Times. Well, it's only up there for a good 90 days and then it goes away, which is why earned opportunities I always strive for. However, if you're trying to reach a very specific audience, then yes, at times it can be worth paying for exposure, but it's actually, truthfully, pay to play is not going to drive lead opportunities for sales or your book. Deborah, this is my first picture book. What media should I pitch? I love this so much. Okay, Deborah, when you think of picture book, I want you to think larger and more expansive than the picture book. We're going after mothers and we're going after families. So think about outlets such as Motherly, Baby Chick, Today Parents, anything that is like you can get into roundups as like the top 10 baby shower gifts to give, and your book can be part of it. So think of it more than just the children's book. Think of the actual person who's buying the book, which is going to be some form of an adult. You can even pitch this when you think of to placements such as Women's Health Magazine always does a best gift to give kids roundup. So anywhere that you can get to your target audience along those lines, I would recommend. Of course, you can be a part of children's book publications and media, which is all local news, will be highly interested in writing a children's book, especially if there's an impact piece. So start with your local news for TV. And for podcasts, I would go to absolutely some of those motherhood, motherly, parenting type of podcasts with your book. So let's see. Oh, Deborah, can my background story be my pitch? Yes, absolutely. Your background story can be your pitch. So your story was inspired by something you're currently doing that's newsworthy. Absolutely. So what you can do for that, it's what we call newsjacking. And that is where you take a trending story and you piggyback on it with your story and how it ties them two together. One thing I want to say here is you're not going to have just one pitch. You're going to have multiple pitches depending on who you're talking to. So absolutely have one of them be your story and tie it to trending news. Let's see. Share Davidson. The example seems to suggest that pitching nonfiction and biographical. Okay, how would it differ than fiction books? This is a great question. So for fiction authors, your story and your message behind the book stays the same. Fiction, when it comes to the escapism into a different world, no matter if that's romance, sci-fi, you name it, you want to, again, answer the same question, like, where are you trying to take readers to and why? Like, why are they trying to escape to this fun beach read? Why should they want to go on this journey to like guerrilla domination, whatever it might be, right? That media outlets are going to want to find out where you're trying to take the reader to. And that's how you pitch for fiction. And share, I can help you with some of those pitch angles one-on-one as well. Anna, do you recommend sending the third email? I actually do. So about 64%, I think, if I remember the stat from my data, is how many journalists said you need to follow up at least 2 times. It's okay to follow up with 3. They get so many pitches that you do. I would not do more than 3, but absolutely send that third email. Michelle, with the follow-up, you said to offer something of additional value. That is a great question. What might that be? So, Michelle, in your pitch, you might have shared a little bit of information about you and your story, but maybe there is an impact piece for your book, right? Maybe there is something that either is not necessarily a give back piece, but is impacting for good. So anything that you can tease them with, right, with a little bit more information is that additional value. So for fiction, that's taking them through another kind of story arc, right? You shared this one arc with them and maybe you're sharing the second with them. If it's nonfiction, this is great where you can incorporate stats and figures, or some books are very educationally driven. I know that Alexa's books are always tied to making sure educators can use them. And maybe you can tie it to how your book's an educational piece. If you have questions specifically on your book, just send me a message and I'll help you figure out what that follow-up is. Anna, what do you share if you haven't been featured or haven't been featured for a long while? This is a wonderful question too. If you haven't been featured, there are plenty of ways to say, kind of, here's my notable press. Talk about, have you attended any events, right? They can be networking events, they can be conferences. You don't have to be the speaker at them. Look through kind of your Rolodex of what you have attended. It's even the right published sell, like, you know, this event that just went on with Alexa last week. You probably attended that, right? And so what they're seeing is that you're a part of communities. So anything, any group or organization that you're a part of can replace if you're waiting on those press placements too. Carol, let's see here. What level of success do podcasters want you to have? Do you have to show you have proven book sales? Does it matter, or is it a matter of marketing yourself? Okay, I'm so glad you brought this post up. First of all, no, you do not have to prove book sales to a podcaster. Really, Media never asked for your sales number either, if I'm going to be completely transparent and honest. So what they're looking for is just how well you know your content. So make sure that your website's updated. That's the biggest thing I can share with you, is make sure your website is strong with the information that you're pitching to be on a podcast. Make sure that the talking points you include to your podcast pitch reflect your website, right? And then when it comes to your book, by no means are they going to ask you to submit anything. It's, again, yep, exactly like you said, how you market yourself. And what problem are you trying to solve with your book, right? What are you trying? I can't stress that enough. Like, what is the book's purpose in this world, no matter what genre it is? What do you hope the book's legacy is? And share that with them too. But the more you can just have content cohesion between your pitch and website, that's how you're going to get the podcast placement. Allison, can we get examples of a 15-word pitch? Yes, you can. Okay, guys, anybody who wants me to send a couple examples of the 15-word pitch, you can sign up for my newsletter below or send me an email. Either one, I will send you examples of all of this that you can copy and paste. I'll send out, actually, if you want to sign up for my email, I'll send out a Google Doc, right, with all of the examples I went through, so you guys can manipulate them and copy and paste. So I hope that helps. Let's see, Allison, what if we're a new author? Okay, I love new authors. If you're a new author, Allison, we're going to tap into the history of what you've done today. So while you may be new as an author, you're not new to life, and you're not new to what you're speaking about, no matter what your genre is. So if you're thinking about, like, what am I going to talk about and brag about? Why don't you send me your book? I'll help you figure out what those bragging rights are, because actually send me your book and bio and I will figure out those bragging rights, because you have the credibility. It's just piecing the story together in the cohesion with the book you have coming out too. Selena, let's see, you've not been able to build an email list. You've not been on a podcast in a while. How do I tackle this? Okay. So Selena, how you tackle this with kind of coming back to it and generating interest again, having you on a podcast, is starting fresh. We need to write new pitches for you. This means just writing new, like what you used to send out to podcasts and scrubbing it to make it current to where you are today and what you feel passionate about speaking to today. So it's okay. Many of us have a lag in media, and we're not going to be pitching them 24/7, 365 days a year. What matters is how we come back with very useful and credible content for them. So if you're stuck, again, reach out to me. We can go through your specifics, since I don't have them here. But just know all it is retelling the story. You have to remember, there's so many media members that change over and podcast producers that change over. 99% of the time, you're probably going to get somebody new. So they aren't going to know who you are, or what you've done, or that there's been a gap. So you can pitch away. Hi, let's see. Hi, Anna. If you're combined, yes, okay. Yes, you know what? Your combined social might be 1,000 followers. And you know what I would do with that? I would let them know that you have a combined social and combine it with an email list if you have it, if you want to include numbers. So maybe that takes you up to like 2,000, right? If not, you don't have to put that part in. You can leave it out, letting them know this. I would put, I have a very engaged community that will absolutely love this episode. I'd be happy to promote it to. Just use the word engage community and swap out that social number and you'll be set. Let's see. For one of our anonymous attendees, to personalize media seems to has already done a how does this work if we don't have a past? Okay, so when I talk about personalized to the media, you don't have to have a past of being on some type of platform, right? If you don't have prior media placements, this is what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Include in there what organizations you're a part of, what groups you're a part of, what conferences you've recently attended. They just, again, want to know you're plugged into the community. And maybe it's nonprofit work that you have done that correlates with your book. Whatever it might be, you don't have to necessarily have press, but they do want to know you're having some type of impact. And if you are having questions about what to pull from that, just send me a note and we'll pull out what those talking points are. But I guarantee you, you're already a part of like networking, writing groups, etc. And I would pull those out when you pitch. Let's see, can you share an example of a pitch done for a nobody? Absolutely, I can share that. Yes, I'll make sure I put that in my Google Doc. So make sure you guys sign up for my email. I'll put that in my Google Doc of, we work with plenty of new authors. Almost all of our authors that we work with are new authors. We work with a handful of high profile authors, but most of our business is with first time authors. So I will put those pitches in and they have landed them on Oprah Daily. They have landed them on Yahoo News, plenty of places. Again, you don't have to be known to get a media placement. It's how you tailor your pitch. So I'll put those examples in too. That's a great question. Nadia, would pitching for children's book be worth it for marketing to the media? Yes, I do have a general template for that. So I will make sure you have the children's book template in that document that I share with y'all too. It is worth pitching for children's books because children's books, above anything, are teaching a child some type of lesson, whether that be on their emotions, whether that be on relationships, whether that may be on handling trauma, etc. Children's books are very special because they are teaching a very young age very important topics. And so if you need help on figuring out those pitches, just let me know. Share. Should we post a media kit on our website? Absolutely, share. Put your media kit on your website. You can put it right in the footer where you have like contact me, about us. Put your media kit down there. You can also link it if you have a page that's all about you and sharing how amazing you are. Put your media kit link in there as well. So it's in double places. But yes, put it on there. You can also put it in your link tree on social. That's a great place to put it too. Allison, do you recommend emailing a PDF for the media kit? Yes, because sometimes, Allison, podcasters will be like, hey, do you have a bio and headshot you can send me? And guess what? If you take that and turn it into a PDF as well, boom, there you go. You can send them your media kit. They can pick the photos. They can pick which buyer they want. They see additional talking points. So yes, absolutely, you can email your media kit. I would not, though, email it when you're pitching. Media guys, and this is a little sidebar, they don't open attachments, especially if they don't know you, right? Their systems actually will flag it as well and sometimes kick back your email. So don't ever attach anything. That's why I say include it on your website. Only attach it if you have booked something and they're asking for more material. Kathy, if you haven't been picked up anywhere yet, okay, I want you to get on Quoted right now. Quoted, guys, is a platform that have a huge database of journalists looking for your expertise. They want you to be quoted in their articles. They're looking for your thoughts on a certain subject. If you haven't had media in a while, hop on Quoted today, right? And start getting familiar with the platform. Also, Help a Reporter Out is great, but it's moved platforms and has a paywall to it as well. So I can't stress enough that you hop on Quoted to get some of those quick wins under your belt. And then you will be able to put those in your notable press placements, boilerplate, and all of that. So that's the first thing I would start doing today. Hi, Carol. You developed a free online program for kids. Oh, how great. The program is gaining some traction. Oh, wonderful. The U.S. Air Force is promoting it. This is fantastic. Um, but I can't seem to get anywhere in the press suggestions. I'm a retired freelance journalist who is, okay, Carol, yes, especially things with your partnership with the Air Force and kind of all the trending news that is happening about supporting for armed forces and their families. Let's connect, because for sure this media pitch should be landing. Let's just take a look at it and see what some of the language is that we need to tweak. So just shoot that over to me, okay? Meg, I typed Quoted in the Apple Store. Oh, Quoted is not an app. It's here. I'll drop in the link for y'all too. Just so you can find, you go to their website, Quoted. It's not spelled like typical Quoted, but like you have it, Meg, and you should find it. I'll drop the link in. Carolyn, yes, I'm going to help you with the fiction slants. I'll include that in my Google Doc and I'll send that out to y'all so you can have fiction pitch angles too. So no worries, fiction friends. I've got you covered as well. Deborah, okay, how do you use this as a first-time fiction author? So it's kind of like what we've been talking about through this Q&A section is even though you're writing a fiction book, you're doing something, you're sparking some type of emotion, you're transporting readers somewhere. Let's find out the why behind it. Like, why did you write this book to take readers there? Why did you think this theme was important today, right? So answering those questions is how we will formulate the pitches. And again, I will put some pitch copies in this Google Doc I'll send out to y'all, so you have some starter copy to send out to. Oh, share. I love memoirs and I love travel guides. And congratulations on the 50th anniversary of your book edition. That's huge. Yes, there are plenty of places that I would put your travel book, especially not only just travel websites and blogs, which is a given, right? But lifestyle, travel and memoir go across lifestyle categories. So depending on who the target audience is, let's say it's a female-based memoir, right? And depending on the topic, I'm just kind of guessing here, you can put those out to different lifestyle blogs, such as, I'm just throwing out like a lifestyle blog would be like Women's Wear Daily to Marie Claire, to talking about the levels of celebrity blogs that talk about different memoirs and book clubs and things like that. So when you're talking about your travel book, it's a little bit easier to place because I know exactly what you're meaning to. And you think of roundups from USA Today and you think of different things from newspapers about how they're talking about the travel season. AAA, that organization always has books on travel, a part of it. So not only look at press and travel, but look at organizations that support the travel industry. They're going to cover your book. And with your memoir, just send me a little bit more information so I can dive into that. Okay, Vivian, your market is elementary school teachers, librarians, and school media specialists. I love this. You are in the right place with being a part of this group. I know that's the heart of Alexis too. So how you market to the teachers is very similar, right? They want to know what outcome it is when it comes to the book, like what lesson the children are being walked away with. And so when you think about your audience might be marketing to school teachers, librarians, we're going to look at those news outlets. Like, let's look at what media teachers are consuming, what teacher organizations there are. Let's look at librarian events, organizations, blogs, outlets, right? So you can dive into each of those both school category and library category. But don't forget, even though you're marketing them, you also have the parent, right? And family category, right? And so make sure you're stretching your book beyond just what is happening right in front of you and reach out to those audience members that are actually buying the book, right? Which are also, if it's available for purchase to parents and caregivers, you name it, you want to go after some of those, like we were talking about, either parenting blogs, motherhood blogs, etc. Melissa, your debut fiction, how do you get the media attention? You do have a nonfiction book that you give in talks to, but it's nothing to do with the fiction piece. Okay, so when it comes to fiction, like we have kind of been reiterating through this, Melissa, is you're going to include your prior work like later on in the pitch. But again, we're going to be talking about why this new book is absolutely the perfect time is now to read this book, what the emotions are that you're sparking in somebody. Tons of outlets love fiction books, especially guys, we're coming up. This could not, if you're a fiction author, listen up now. This could not be a more perfect time for you. Now is the time to pitch to be a part of like must have summer reads. And especially for fiction, this does really well. And for fiction, working with, I hate to say the word influencer because it gets a bad rap, but working with those on social, and it doesn't have to be a huge following, Melissa. I'm talking people who have 1,000 or more people to partner with to get your book out is one way. Another way is, guys, start searching for media outlets that are putting together best of lists. And I'm going to give you a few when I send out my email. But now is the time to pitch a debut fiction novel for must have reading for the summer, must have reading for spring, whatever you name it, Melissa. We can kind of curtail that pitch to exactly what your book is all about. Okay, Vivian, yep, your books are contemporary fiction, adventure, mystery books. This is perfect timing too for you, right? Talking about the book roundup, all media outlets are talking about, and blogs, especially guys. Don't forget your local news. All of you have a news station, I promise, where you live or somewhere close by. You want to pitch your book as like the must have new read of the season. And all of you guys can reach out to your local media because they want these author profiles out there. So fiction and nonfiction start there. And then I'm going to kind of share a guide with you of how you can get a part of roundups and get on Quoted. There's a lot of opportunity for fiction on Quoted, and I'll share how to use that platform for fiction as well. Jamie, your book is about chronic illness and disability and entrepreneurialism. Should I pitch something related to those? Let's see, awareness months. No, absolutely. You should pitch to those awareness months. That this is also a trending thing that you can speak to all the time. So while it's great to thematically pitch, and if you're going to pitch to one of those being a month, you need to start pitching that about 60 to 90 days out before that month takes place. But these themes are relevant year round. Okay, I see Melissa on. I see Alexa on. So I'm
Yes,
gonna let
yes.
Alexa
I'm sorry.
go.
There's so many great questions left in here, and I'm sorry that we can't get to all of
It's
them.
okay. It's
But it sounds
okay.
like you have some great resources for
I
people to
do.
get on your email list. So make sure you go to the frontporchcollective.co/sign up. You also have an offer for our summit attendees, and I want to get to that. It sounds like we need to schedule a workshop specifically on brainstorming pitch
Yep.
ideas and how and where
Let's do
to
it.
send those. So that we'll add that to our upcoming schedule. Okay, so what is your offer for our community outside of this, or is it part of this?
No, it's outside. So outside of this, guys, I do have an offer that I share with the summit is I have a free webinar on what it takes to become a best-selling author. And so you will get access to that webinar. I'm also, like I said, going to share all of these pitches and expanded pitches with you guys to copy and paste from our discussion today too.
That's so wonderful. I'm trying to find the pretty URL. I think it's Women in Publishing Summit.com/front
Oh, yes.
porch. Let me see. Hold on, everybody. Let's find this. Let's see if this is correct.
That sounds right, Alexa.
It is. It's womeninpublishingsummit.com/front porch. I try to make them as easy as possible to remember. Let me drop this in here. Women in Publishing summit.com/front porch, all one word. That'll be great for you to grab as well. And I will definitely, Paige is working with me on her children's book, so I will definitely
I
be in very
am.
close contact with Paige. I also haven't asked her this yet, but since we are working on her children's book, I thought it would be a great workshop to do one singled out just for children's book authors too, because we've never had a workshop specific for children's book authors with children with PR and media. So I think that would be
Oh,
really
that'd be great.
so we
Yeah,
will
that'd be wonderful.
yes, we will make sure to keep you updated on all of these things as they come out. And just as a reminder, everyone, if you haven't bookmarked the page, womeninpublishingsummit.com/events, make sure you bookmark that because every time we add a new training, a new webinar, anything like that, it goes on there first so you can get registered. And that's for all of I know our community crosses over between the Women in Publishing Summit community and the Write Publish Sell community, but we put them all on womeninpublishingsummit.com/events just to have a one place for everybody to find them. So let's definitely make sure you know how to get that. And I forgot there was one more announcement I before you close up here, but we will have this recording available for you, so no worries there. Get on her email list so you can get the additional stuff that she promised. And how would you like to end this amazing training session?
I just would like to say thank you guys. You all are phenomenal with the story to share, and we just need to get it tailored to be able to get the awareness that you deserve. That's all.
Yep. And I mean, gosh, I just want to, say the same thing that I said at the beginning for anyone who came in late and maybe didn't hear that. Like, as somebody, as a publisher, as an author myself, as somebody who lives and breathes book marketing every single day, I cannot impress upon you enough how important it is to use the tools that Paige just talked about so that you can get yourself in front of new readers. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can spend a bajillion, and that's an official number, a bajillion dollars on marketing. And if you're not landing in front of people who want to read your books or new folks that haven't already been exposed to your books, it's going to be a really big uphill battle for you. So thank you, Paige. This was incredible information. I didn't know about half of those sites. You better believe I'm going to be there like
I know, Lexi, you're like, I'm going there right now.
getting all these things. So thank you. Loved it. And go over
Guys.
what's that website one more time so that people know how to get on your website, on your
Oh,
email.
yeah, it's the frontporchcollective.co/sign up, all one word.
So easy. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Paige. I really appreciate it. Also
Thanks,
follow her
guys.
on Instagram. She the Front Porch Collective on Instagram. She posts tips on there all the time that are phenomenal as well. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye, Alexa. Bye, everybody.
Bye.